So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. I hope this is an open conversation about teaching graphs, charts, data. Um, and we're going to look at things a little bit differently than the usual way that we examine graphs, charts, data. Um, these type of graphics really convey complex ideas and the information. And so we need to prepare our students to be able to examine, convey complex ideas and information clearly and accurately through the effective selection of graphs and charts and data, right? They need to be able to organize information. They need to be able to analyze it. So we'll go ahead and talk about our objective. Hi, Miss Woods. Um, So our objective today is to explore ways to teach with graphs, data, and charts. As you all know, part of good instruction is having the right activities to get students to reach those higher level critical thinking skills, right? They need to be able to analyze and make decisions. And in the next slides, I will show you a number of graphs, charts, images, and data. And I want you to take a moment to intentionally think about the students that you work with. Hi, Miss Woods. I see you there.
Hi,
It's so long. It's been so long. Good to hear your voice.
thank you. Yours too.
Thank you. So take a moment to imagine the students that you're working with right now and think about what they're able to do or what they haven't been able to do in terms of analyzing information in charts, graphs, and data. We're going to do a quick activity, very, very brief. If you have access right now, at the top of your screen, you'll see something that says you are viewing Maribel's screen. And right next to it, there is a button that says View Options. You'll click on the Annotate option. Then you're going to see this whole list of options, and you'll click on Stamp. Under Stamp, you'll have a bunch of other options. You can pick any one of those, and I want you to use that stamp to tell me, do you say data or data? So go ahead and use your annotate tools. I got one data. I got two datas. Who says data? Oh, data. Excellent. It looks like our group mostly says data. Oh, we got one person that says data. I just thought that was a fun activity to get us started.
Hello,
I
Mary.
click both because I say it sometimes.
Both. Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. Um, I think I changed from one to the other as well. Interesting. So it looks like I've got 4 people that say or that have clicked data and one person that clicked data, or 2 people. It's important to know that I did this activity because it's a way to collect information. And when students are approaching data analysis, they need to know how to generate it as well. So an activity like this can lead to a very simple activity. So what I'm going to show you next is it. Oops, sorry, didn't change mine yet. Is how I generate charts on PowerPoint if you are not familiar with it. So I'm going to exit the presentation mode and bring over, oh, I have a little heart on my screen. Let me clear that. Okay, so we collected data in PowerPoint. This is just a side skill that I'm going to teach. What I might do is click Insert, and then over here, where's charts? Chart. And let's say I want a pie chart. Very simple. I click OK, and it gives me the area in which to document the data. So as you can see, it has that. So I'm going to write data and data. And let's say we had 6 people say that and 2 people say that. I'm going to delete that and delete that. Delete that and delete that. And now here's my chart. I don't know why. Oh, there it is. I can X this out, and now I have a beautiful chart. So if I want to edit it, I can then click that and make it look different, any way I want. So that's just a side skill that I like to bring up because people are like, oh, that's great. I can do all these activities, but I don't know how to make a chart. So again, hit insert, hit chart, and it'll do it for you. Okay, back to presentation mode. Okay. So again, this is another example of data. This has a lot of information. And when students see this, it can be overwhelming. In the chart, they see numbers, and then they see percentages, and they see all those colors. So we're going to practice a skill set today around teaching graphs in a graduated way. So a slow reveal method for teaching graphic analysis. So here's a picture. As you can see, I blocked out some of the content. What might that mean? What might this document mean? Or this image mean? What is it conveying to you? What does it convey to you?
Well, these things aren't good for you.
Very good. Very good. It's conveying that well, we know with our prior knowledge that drinking, smoking, and eating big, delicious, juicy cheeseburgers all the time is not good for you. And here's a doctor, right? So the first thing I do, like Joanne did, is connect ideas from my previous experience. Helen says the image may mean that somebody may be angry at something. That's definitely possible. There's definitely some feeling here, right? It's conveying meaning. So if I unveil some of it, like now, I can see he is from the WHO, the World Health Organization, right? So it changes the connotation. It changes the meaning behind this graphic. Now I know that the WHO is this entity that talks about world health. Now I can see more of the content. COVID-19 is no longer a global health emergency. Obesity is cheering. Cigarettes are cheering. The alcohol is popping its cork. So when this is just a simple example to talk about conveying meaning. And this is something you can do with your students so that they begin to make connections. Just like Joanne said, oh, well, those things are bad for you. They're not healthy. You start to make a connection. And so we're going to use a similar process of slowly revealing content so that our students can understand graphs, data, and charts. Our purpose today really is to provide students with opportunities to analyze, think critically, develop understanding, make connections, and to reason quantitatively. We want students to be able to evaluate content that's presented in diverse formats, including visually and quantitatively. I'm going to give a couple of comments, and then we'll look at an example. So you'll see that this is kind of, it's going to be stop and think. Then we'll do a few examples, then we'll do another stop and think. So I want you to keep in mind, when you're using graphs with students, you want to introduce the different types, right? What does it mean to collect data? What is data? How do we represent data? What are the different parts of the graphs? And then also keep in mind, you want to use real world examples. One of the best ways is to use real world examples from newspapers, magazines, online. This will help students see how graphs are used to communicate something, right? So we're going to try our first example. As you can see, there's some bits and pieces that I've blocked out, and I added these questions. What do you notice with this graph? And so I'm going to model a notice and wonder activity with this graph. And I'd like you to just tell me, what do you notice about this? What do you notice? What do you notice? Hi, Helen.
Hi, Maribel. I'm trying to think what I noticed. First thing that came to mind is zigzag, but that's not the right word for it.
It is a good word. Wait, let's stick with that zigzag.
Okay.
What does the zigzag represent? The up and down, up and down, up and down. What does that mean in a graph?
It's not really stable. It's just volatile. It's just keeps changing.
Yes, something keeps changing. What keeps changing?
The time, because here we have hours and minutes.
Yes, the time. What else? What else?
And then it suddenly drops all the way down at the
It
end.
suddenly drops.
And goes back right to the beginning of 2.5 hours, probably, with all
Yeah,
the change. Yeah.
absolutely. So Helen just gave me a lot of information without even knowing what it's about, right?
Right.
And so Helen is developing an understanding of the data without all of the information. She's able to analyze a relationship from before and after. She's able to identify changes over time. What's happening? What else? Any other observations with this image?
I mean, I would say it's going up over most of the time, and then the trend is upward until the very end.
The trend is upward. That's a great word, trend. Our students I'm looking that way because your pictures are on my third screen, but so trend over time, right? That they know what trending is, right? Hashtag trending. Everybody knows that that means something is consistent, right? It's going up and up and up. So I really like that you said that it keeps going up, even though there's some little changes. Let's take a look at the next bit. All right, now we have more information. We have a timeline, and we have that highlighted drop. What could this be? What could this be? Well, what do you notice here?
Like most of these changes are within 2.5 hours or okay, 2 and probably close to 2:30 or 2:39, and
Yes.
below 3 hours and 15 minutes, so probably 3 hours and 10 minutes. So it's
Yeah.
only in that range.
I love that you brought up the word range. There's a high number and a low number, and it doesn't go beyond that high and the low, right? That's such a good word to describe data. There's a range. There's different values that we can see are the minimum and the maximum. So in this case, you know, you really want to reflect with students on variables that represent the two quantities, right? We have time and we have I'm sorry, we have years and then we have time. And looking at the relationship of the number of hours over years is a relationship that students can describe. And so when you use a slow reveal process, they are then able to understand what it is, right? So this one's about average game duration of the baseball, Major League Baseball. If any of you are Phillies fans, I hope you are. If any of you are Phillies fans, you'll know that, or baseball fans, they are reducing the amount of time for games. And so the New York Times has an amazing section called What's Going On in This Graph to help students really understand and represent and analyze quantitative relationships. This chart here helps students to relate the dependent and independent variables, right? It helps them to understand the connection and the proportional relationship, the lines and linear equations. Technically, they will be able to define or evaluate a function using this type of activity. You can use this to start conversations around functions and modeling relationships. So it's a really, really easy way to get students to break down the data without giving a whole lot of information. Are there any?
I'm preempting your question of asking for a question.
Yes.
I actually don't know how to do that. So this is in a PowerPoint. How
Yes.
do you do a stamp to cover it? How do you cover it up?
So what I do in a PowerPoint is I literally just insert shapes. So yeah, insert shapes, and I just picked one and covered it up. What I do first though is I get the diagram or the chart that I want to talk about. I cover everything up with, the different shapes. Oops. And then I make duplicate copies. So Control D, oops, go over here. Control D, Control D. So now I have several of the same thing. Here I might delete one, and here I might delete two, and then the last one. So that's how I do it. Now, okay. Now I got to figure out how to get it back. Okay. So we talked all about that. It's really an easy way to get students to start analyzing and experience with data. Also, let's stop and think. Make it fun. Graphing can be tons of fun. You can do all kinds of activities. You could have students generate or create their own graph or compare different types of graphs they see in the newspaper or on TV or on the internet. And use technology. Like I just showed you a really easy way to make a graph on PowerPoint and to do this slow reveal activity on PowerPoint. But there are and I'll send you a list. There's one at the end of my slides of activities and websites you can do with this. So again, this is a different way to teach graphs, to get people to analyze and to interpret. Let's take a look at another one, a little more complicated. So there's a lot of information here. I want you to answer the question. Describe the circle. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? Hey, David, what's going on in this graph here?
Well, it looks like a circle graph.
Yes. What is a circle graph?
It's a disc or ring like this that's divided into segments, and the different segments stand for parts that make up the whatever whole the entire
Yes.
graph is standing for.
Yes, yes. I love that you said that it's divided into parts. So we have a mathematical term here, division, right? Parts. Where do we know that from? We know fractions, right? So automatically, as David is talking about this circle graph, he's giving us some clues. And so as an instructor, I'm going to capitalize on those clues. So he's talking about multiple options, multiple sections, and he talked about whole, right? So part and whole. Automatically, I'm thinking fractions, I'm thinking decimals, I'm thinking percentage. And then I look over here and I look at the source, Entertainment Software Association, essential facts about the video game industry. So with that information now, I can look at this data and say, oh, this is something about the video game industry. Let's take a look. Best-selling video games, super genres of 2017 by units sold. Now I have some more information. And there's this link here. It says video games, violence, infographics. Oh, so this might be about the type of video game. So as I reveal different sections of it, I start to build an understanding. I start to build my knowledge of what this is communicating. And at the end of the day, yes, we want students to pull individual pieces of data, but they need to understand the picture. They need to understand what it means. So if you take a look at the complete picture, we can see all the different genres of video games. Look at this big blue chunk, 25.9% shooter games, 21.9% action. Wow. Let's look at these little ones, 4.2% strategy. And now I know what this graph is about. This is about the different types of games that people enjoy or that people sold. And now I can make a statement about the data. Now I can use the numbers to make meaning, right? Let's look at another one. What does this graph remind you of? What does it remind you of?
Maybe population or income.
Population or income? What else?
Maybe not income because it's too high over there. I don't know.
Not for educators, right?
Right. Yeah.
This is definitely not my salary.
Right. I know. Yeah. Well, let's stick with population for now.
Okay, that's okay. So population. Tell me more. It doesn't have to be Helen, anyone. Samira, how you doing over there? What does this graph remind you of?
Some type of comparison between.
I mean, when I see a bar graph, I think of steps.
Go ahead, Samira. Sorry.
It looks like some type of comparison of average or medium income in a certain area to population.
Sure, possible. But I love that you all are able to make connections, right? It looks like something you've seen before. Joanne, what were you going to say?
I was just saying, I was just doing a general thing. I was just talking about its steps, like different steps. You go up and down.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. U.S. economy gained 253,000 jobs in April. So
Jobs.
it's jobs. But the visual gives you an understanding that things changed over time, right? It also helps students see that there is space between the 254,000 and the 253,000. What happened during those times? What month is this high point? What month is this high point? And then what happened during the low point, right? These are all those pieces that students have to bring out from the data. And when we overwhelm them with too much information, we don't get them to make the connections. Let's do another stop and think here. I want you to make sure that students understand those different parts. Titles, labels, axes, data points, all of those things are important, of course. But the difficult part is that interpretation, right? Once they know how to read it, you want to ask questions. As you've seen, I have been asking very, very clear questions, right? About what do you see here? And what does it remind you of? And what do you notice? And what does it mean to you? So that students can continue to draw conclusions from the data in front of them. You also want to give students opportunities to practice and give them opportunities to create their own graphs, analyze them, and interpret graphs. It's incredibly important to do such. All right. So take a look at this one. What do the numbers mean? What is this graphic trying to communicate to you? I'll give you a clue. It has something to do with dogs. So there's some numbers. This dog, I don't know anything about the types of dogs. So this one is 15. This one has 8. This one has 4. This is 2 and 1. So it means something. There's something there. Go ahead.
Maybe their age, probably.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Or
The
how
number-
many dogs of a certain type are in a shelter or something? That's
Yeah, could be.
I think it shows the breed, the number of times those particular breeds placed in the championship, the national championship.
Oh, you know. Yes. The Westminster
Uh-huh.
Kennel Club
Yeah.
winners. You were right on target, right? And so as you analyze the information there, you were able to see that there was kind of levels, right? And then we have these symbols, right? An important piece of information to share with your students. What do they mean? And here it's the quantity of times that they won Best in Show during that competition. It's incredibly important for you to take the time to shed light, not to make a pun, but to shed light on all of these components of graphs, data, charts. Okay. The next part is these are some resources. Does everyone have PowerPoint on their computer? Or yes, no? Okay.
Yeah, but I don't use it much. I use
Okay.
slides, yeah.
You use slides. Either way. Here are just some resources of software and websites that you can use. What I'd like you to do is either use PowerPoint or slides to create a graph, just like I showed you in the beginning, right? Let's see. So you're going to create a slide, going to hit insert and hit chart. Select the one that you want. I like pie charts. I'm going to click OK. You're going to put in some fake data, hit enter. And so I'd like you to do that. Then on the side, if you can, you're going to put some text. Oops, wrong way. You move that way and you move this way. And I'll put some information about it. So you're going to have the opportunity to put the information and then you're going to cover it up for us and you're going to do a slow reveal with us. Okay? So, does everybody understand the activity? You're going to create a graph on PowerPoint or slides or whatever choice you have available to you. And then I'll have you share your screen and you'll facilitate a slow reveal.
This might take me a minute.
That's okay. That's why I showed you such an easy way.
But those resources at the end,
Yes.
what were those?
Yes. So these are open, this one's an open source software for data analysis built for schools so that students can explore, visualize, and learn. Plotvar is online graph makers. You are welcome to try one of these as well. Cannon Man, in different interactive activities around graphs, data, and statistics, and so on. So you're welcome to use one of these, but try to use PowerPoint or slides to insert a graph and develop a slow reveal activity. A slow reveal graph. And how would you present it to students? So,
So Maribel, I have
yes,
a pie chart, but how do I add
on
info-
slides,
I go to slides
yes.
and then what do I click on?
So if you're on slides, let me open it up. Slides. Okay, here's slides. Oop. Miss Wood, you have to turn off your that bar at the top that says annotate. I see you clicking
Okay.
there. Yep, got it. 1 second. Clear all drawings. Okay. Okay, so let's say I insert chart or pie graph. Okay, you see this right here will open the source data. So it's a little different because it's in Sheets. Move this over. And then you can edit. Joanne, you also have your
I'm annotating.
Yep. So for Sheets, I can just go ahead and change this cat, dog, bird, fish, and you see it updated automatically. Once I finish that, I can go back to my presentation and hit update. Then you see fish, bird, dog, cat. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
No
Okay,
problem.
I'll try now.
How do I
Okay.
get to the slide? That's what I can't figure out.
Oh, you can open up a PowerPoint on your computer, or you could just go to Google Slide. Do you have Google email or
Mm-hmm.
okay. So in Google, if you go to Google Drive, you should be able to just hit new and then slide. And then
I only see your screen now.
oh, here, I'll stop sharing my screen.
Okay.
Now, can you open up a window?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Joanne, how's it going? Fun.
I'm having trouble opening PowerPoint, but it's opening.
Okay. Cindy, how are you? I know you're on your phone.
Oh, wow. That would be hard.
Yes.
Maribel, I'm pretty good. I deal with charts and graphs and data, using data for a lot of years in the biotech world.
Wonderful. Good, good, good. Nancy, how are you?
I'm okay changing the values. I haven't, I'm gonna work on changing the labels of the team names.
Okay. Okay. And then, like I did before, you can cover up pieces by inserting shapes right over top of the content. David, how are you? You're on mute.
I'm getting there.
Okay, excellent. I've been thinking about you this week about about my own practice, about being more accessible to individuals who might need a little bit more step by step around the technology. So I've been thinking about how I present.
In the world.
Maribel, can I
Yes.
share my screen briefly?
Yes.
Because I'm not sure where to go from here.
Sure, share with us.
All right, thank you. So I got this on my screen with
Yes.
Google Slides, but I don't know where to go to,
To edit,
yes,
click on the box that has the chart in it. Okay, you see how it highlighted it? In the
Yes.
upper corner of that blue box, there's that little arrow.
Oh, this one.
Yes, you
Okay.
had to, and then open source.
Yes.
And
Okay.
now that is the data. Oop, you have to scroll back up. It's trying to generate the picture. Yeah. So now you can edit the data.
Got it.
Excellent. No
Excellent.
problem.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
stop sharing now. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Joanne, do you want to share and see where you're at? You can share your.
Yeah.
Yes, there you go. Excellent. That's exactly what pizza, chicken nuggets, awesome. Are you hungry? It's lunchtime, right?
I'm just thinking of things that I've done in class before.
Sure, sure. Who else? Oh, there you go. Excellent. All right. Take about 7 more minutes to, you can stop sharing now, Joanne, that's fine. To finish your graph or your chart, and then we'll come back together at about 10 minutes, 3:19, and we'll share them. Okay. Charles, do you want to pause the recording for the next 10 minutes? Or maybe not.
Maribel, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I am trying to add some months, the horizontal axis,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know how.
All right, let's go ahead and hit share screen so I could take a look. So go back to your Zoom.
I don't use PowerPoint that much, so.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can
got
use
No, it's
slides.
okay. It's okay. I'm just
Can you see it, Maribel?
Yes, I can.
just
Okay.
telling you why I'm so slow.
Take your time, Joanne. All right.
Put
Click.
January, February, March, and then the rest of the months.
Got it. Got it. So go ahead and click on the graph itself
Mm-hmm.
on the somewhere on the orange or something, somewhere there.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So data labels. If you scroll down, there's data labels. Keep going. A few more.
Oh, I see it. Mhm.
Yes. Click that. Okay. So on the right hand side, you'll see also on the right hand side, you'll see that little paintbrush. And you can go ahead and click that and it'll give you all the options to change. So go ahead and click one of those options and you'll see the different ways that PowerPoint can present it to you.
So I want to get rid of category 1.
Oh, so on the right hand side, you see where that plus is.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and click that. And that's another way to add or remove. Go ahead and click the little paintbrush right underneath that. And the filter button right underneath that. Where's the options? It should open up a window. Oh, there. Click names in that chart. You should be able to change the names. Yeah. Oh, they don't get. Okay, up at the top where it says design, like way up at the top, where
Mm-hmm.
you see design and
Yeah.
format
Mm-hmm.
to the right. Keep going. It's like highlighted in dark red.
Oh.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Now if you click add chart element or quick layout or any of those, you can change right through this window. Nope, to the left. Any of the, yeah.
Okay. So quick change layout, I guess.
That's going to change the overall layout. Where's your
Add.
option to change? Click add. Let's see what's there. No. Oh, data labels, but that's going to bring you back. Why won't it let you change the data labels? There's no option button. Go ahead up to the top and where it says format. I don't know. Well, for now, this will do for, but I'll get you the information on how to go ahead and do this. But this is a really good example of moving students from pre-HSE to ASE. Let's take a look there. Can I use yours as an example, Ms. Woods?
Certainly, and tell me everything that's wrong.
There's nothing wrong here. There is nothing wrong here. I am going to use my annotate to draw some things here. So something that I might hide from students is the labels, right? I might hide that. I might hide that. And then ask them, what do you think this category looks like? There's something that's really high and then two that are a little closer. What does that look like to you? I would ask all those questions, right? there's a series. Does that mean that each one is a group or a group of students? What does it mean? And so as I break it down to my students, I would cover all those words and just let them look and observe right on the screen. What do you think it means? There's 3 different things. The blue is sometimes the greatest, but it's not always. The orange is pretty low, except for this one time. And I would talk about data in that way and just say, what do you see here? What do you see here? Thank you, Miss Woods. That was very helpful. Thank you. You can stop sharing your screen now.
Okay, wait a minute. There we go. There.
Thank you.
So I have a question about like
Yes.
importing data so that you don't have to make up all of your own charts.
I'm going to give you a website. I always have a website. Hang on to that question. I want to do that at the end.
Okay. So I
Um,
got to get back to my.
Yep. Helen, do you want to share your example?
Yes, sure. And I'm trying to add a title. I mean, it's not
Yes.
done. I'm still
That's okay.
working on it. And one thing, so I'm trying to add a title here. I'm not sure how to do that. But what I thought about is like students, and then I realized since it's a pie chart, it has to be 100%. So I was figuring out how to get it to 100%. Of course, this information is not real information. Just,
Right.
yeah. Mhm.
So go back to the slide tab up at the top, up all the way up. The tab where your slides are,
Oh,
all the way at the top of your screen. Keep going up all the way. Where all the different windows are at the top.
Oh,
Yes, the
uh,
slide one.
the untitled presentation.
Click that.
Oh,
Yes.
the
All
original
right.
one. Okay.
Now on this, you see there's an update button on the
Yes.
chart. Click
Uh-huh.
that. Okay. So you can edit it right from here and double click. Again, this is slides. It's different than the PowerPoint.
Yes.
And so you'll want to figure out your own software. But what kind of conversation would you have with your students around this data? What would you say? What would you hide? What would you cover up?
Oh, I would cover up the titles, like you're not enrolled, further education, university students, high school and adult. And then I would ask them, what do you think? No, what do you think these percentages are about?
Yes.
Have them like guess. Supposedly like this is after we discussed the lesson, so they have some background knowledge.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you talked about percentage, right? And it
Yes.
has to add up to 100%.
Yes.
And so on your screen, you have percentages, but on the chart, if you go back to the untitled presentation pie chart, yep, that one,
Yeah.
you see you have whole numbers here.
Yes.
And so having a conversation with your students about what each number means in relation to the whole, you can talk about fractions. You can talk about so much information before you even discuss those categories.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much for trying that. And I just want to thank all of you for trying. David or Joanne, who wants to try next?
I'm willing if you'd like.
Go ahead, David. Let's do it.
Okay.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. All right. So you did it. You covered up some information. So what questions would you give your students in order to help them understand this graph?
Well, I'd ask them first to think about things that change in value over the course of the year, and more specifically, go up in the summer and down in the winter.
That's a very, very good one. I love it. I love it. And so maybe they'll say temperature or price of gas. I don't know. You know, obviously with your scale, you could see that. Another option would be to cover that scale, right? So that they can think more critically. Well, what actually is raised during August? This is really great. This is really great. Other questions that you might ask or sentence starters?
Well, as you said, the scale on the left is an additional clue, because you think about what things would vary between 0 and 90, what types of data, and
Yeah.
you already mentioned temperature, which would probably be a likely choice.
Yes. Would your students pick temperature? That's the question, right?
Or you mean not their temperature, but what their thought was? Yes.
Yeah, what would their thought be?
Yeah,
you know?
that's very likely, I think.
Yeah. But this is really good. This is a really great example. Thank you for sharing that. Great. Joanne,
Okay.
I am struggling with this.
is it the software or is it?
Yeah, it's not the
Okay.
idea. It's the software.
I didn't think so. I just wanted to make sure.
But I can share it.
Yeah, sure. Excellent. Excellent. So again, PowerPoint and slides are a little different.
Yeah, I actually don't usually use a presentation for my class. I like
Okay.
bring up
Other
PDFs.
things. Okay. That and that's fine. This was just again for practicality purposes, but I think it's really important what you have here, right? You have a graph with 0 numbers on it, right?
Yeah.
The data is on the side. When students see that and they say, "Oh, favorite food," they're immediately thinking, what's the most popular? Okay, pizza, or maybe it's favorite kids food or favorite junk food. They don't know. But I think it's so important for students to look at data and decide what this means. There's obviously 2 front runners, right? And then 2 that are less likely or less liked. And so it's a great opportunity to question them about what are they. Look in your what you have in your mind, connect it to things that you know. Well, in American culture, we eat a lot of pizza, we eat a lot of this, we eat a lot of that. It might be easier than we think. But then they can relate that back to the numbers. What does 50 mean? What does 20 mean? Is that a count? Is it a percent? How do we show that on a graph? And it's a great entry point for students to learn about analyzing data. What questions might you pose to your group?
Maybe start talking about parts and whole. So what is the total here, the whole, and then you could go into fractions or percents.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all about making meaning. Thank you for sharing, Joanne. Nancy, do you want to share yours?
Mine was just very basic. I was trying to I just got to
That's
change
fine.
like the numbers and the names. And I love seeing that there are I've never played with the inserting the charts before, so this is fantastically educational. So
Oh, awesome.
I just want to sit back and listen. I apologize, I joined late and I'm just picking up so many wonderful tips. I was confused of the last presentation with the pie chart. The numbers didn't total 100 and the proportion didn't match the color scheme. So I just wondered what you did in that pie chart.
The numbers didn't total 100 because it wasn't a percent. So they were just,
Okay, but the two with the equal numbers, the pie size wasn't equal. Was it?
I get what you're saying. It didn't exactly appear equal. Maybe it hadn't updated.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Okay, so yeah, I can understand that if it doesn't have to equal 100.
100, but
The pie didn't, the number of values were equal, but
Yeah.
the portion of the pie, I guess. needed
yeah,
to be updated.
I haven't used that before to make that kind of chart. So I think it is interesting. I'm glad to know that you can make a chart that way, but I don't know why, like Maribel said, maybe it hadn't updated. I'm not sure.
Okay.
yes. So Nancy, will you just in your
Up here?
Zoom? Yeah,
Okay.
unzoom it so we can see a little bit more of the chart.
Oh, hold on, make it big there.
Smaller. Yeah. There you go. That's good.
Okay.
Scroll down a little
down?
bit.
Oh, okay.
There
That's
you
all.
go.
So I just changed the percentages a little bit.
That's fine. That's fine.
And I had changed, yeah, I had changed the names, but it didn't update. I changed team
Number
leader to birds, but oh well.
That's okay.
Again, I'm learning the technology and I'm not as savvy as everyone else here. I
No, I'm not
something
either.
with
We-
IE, and he was laughing because I'm like, I'm like a monkey at a circus. I'm
Oh
very
my
slow to
gosh.
train, and he was just laughing at the imagery, but it's kind of baby steps. So I
It-
appreciate your patience and repetition.
Absolutely. Again, this is a learning opportunity for you to gain some skills and some ideas around teaching graphs with a slow reveal technique. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
When you say slow reveal, how does that?
So I'll show you now. So when share my screen. Okay. So can you see my PowerPoint? Is that what you're seeing
Yeah, we see the PowerPoint.
Yep.
now? Okay.
Mhm.
So this is just raw data, right? Take the this is a slow reveal activity that we went through. I know you came in a little bit late. What we basically did was cover up all the content so that students can wonder about it, so that they can have a conversation about it. Then we went through and revealed different parts of the graph so that they can slowly build their understanding of what the graph means. That's what I mean by slow reveal. And so we're running low on time, so I want you to make sure I'll send you the resource and everything. But I also want to show you this wonderful website. I always have a website. This is called slowrevealgraphs.com. Very simple to remember. And if you think about it, if you look at it under classroom resources, there's tons of graphs. Since we all like circle graphs, we're going to go with that. And it's real data. And you can see they have tons. You see the one that I used. Let's look at that. Look at this. They provide the slide decks already.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. But I wanted to give you, so I know you're all like, she should have shared this at the beginning. But again, I want to make sure you have the skill set to do it on your own. Pictographs, and it's all real data. It's just different ways, and they always have the slide deck. And they cover up different pieces. Little by little, you'll see the reveal. And it's a great way for your students to learn those analytical skills.
Sorry.
So, with that being said, we've reached 3:30. I hope that you've all learned a little bit about slow reveal and using technology to build graphs for your students to analyze. I hope it was helpful. Are there any questions? comments, concerns?
Nope. Thank you very much. Learned a lot. I learned how to make charts and that website, and I appreciate the help.
Anytime. Thank you for being here, Joanne.
Thank you so much, Maribel. I think this is really cool. I'm gonna try it in class
Oh, good.
and work on it.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, everyone.
Take care, Maribel.
Thank you, darling. So good to hear your voice.
You too.
Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend.